Ladies and gentlemen, thank you ever so much for coming in early. We're ringing the bell. I think someone said chocolate cake, but they are on their way through. We will be starting shortly. Thank you. Hello.
Yesterday they ran out of water. And how can you run out of water?
Can I ask you for one favor?
Yeah, sure. Oh.
It's okay. Francesco, the project's name is Humus. Because everybody calls it hummus. But it's really humus. So it would help a lot if it... Thank you so much.
We have this session, right, with Francesco. I think we need to, I mean, there is people who want to hang around. We cannot push them too hard.
That's okay. That's okay. Let's get it done. We'll get it done. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make a start. If you're just coming into the room, grab yourselves a seat. Get yourself comfortable. And then we'll begin. By the way, did everybody have a look in their lovely PREPSOIL green bags last night? Did you have a good look through? Did anybody notice that there was a pencil? Yeah? Is anybody looking at me going, I didn't see there was a pencil? It was just a pencil? Oh, it's not just a pencil. Take another look. And if you have a smaller person in your life, take it back for your smaller person because they are going to love it. That's a pencil that grows. How absolutely wonderful. Right. I think we're good. Are we good to go? I think we're good to go. Brilliant. Right. And welcome if you are joining us online. Thank you very much for coming back after the breakout sessions and joining us again. We have some 200 people online, as well as everyone here in this room. So it's great to have you all here. So what we are going to do is we're going to report back from the breakout sessions. We're going to get some real life examples of what is going on in different places. We'll get an update from the mission statement and we will meet the mission ambassadors as well and explain this concept of the mission ambassadors. But first of all, what I'd like to do is report back from the breakout. So the 3 breakouts, if I could have the 3 reporters back on stage, please. So we have Muriel Mambrini-Douay, we have Wim van der Putten and Johan de Vree. If you'd like to come and join us, thank you very much. Lovely. Come and take a seat. I'm missing someone. Oh no, fantastic. Thank you. Wonderful. So, first of all, Living Labs. Who went to the Living Labs breakout? Well, I'm glad you were there. Muriel, that's a relief, I have to say. Otherwise, you're just going to make up what happened. But actually, a nice number of people, so I bet you had a good discussion. For those watching online who weren't able to be there, and for everyone else in the room, what did you talk about?
We had 2 parts. The first part, we have been speaking about the why Living Labs. Why are they good options to improve soil health? And then what is known and the extent to which they can really make something different for soil health. Then we went through what is expected in terms of Living Lab for soil health under the point of view of the mission. In which living labs and lighthouses are the main goals of the mission. And we saw that there are 8 objectives and targets to be achieved in 2030. So this explains the constraints and the will for good design that is expected in the call. But it's also what we saw, another way of bridging projects and another way of building projects, another way of building funding, another way of measuring progress. And what we have seen also, that there is a lot of different services that will be provided by the mission also. So what I can say to everyone willing to implement a living lab for soil health is you are not alone. Because while asking to do outstanding ambition, the European Commission and the mission develops also support and follow and is able to adjust and is also in a way engaged in the co-creation with you. This message I wanted to share. And then the good news is also that it's already in motion, because the second part was testimonies from living labs or under process or living labs already existing in different situations. And what we learn there is that in very different situations, there is a lot to bring, a lot to gain, but you have to be in a kind of win-win situation. And what do we need then after to bring what we need for this win-win situation with the different stakeholders? So there is a need to do research in a different way. There is a need to bring research question in a different way. And what we agreed on is also what do we put and how do we put more in the education and in the co-creation process. And also in the way to monitor the progress. So what echoes loudest is the resounding impact of the co-creation process, whether engaging with local stakeholders, bridging the gap between research and practice, or navigating the complexities of urban projects. We had examples on it. Collective learning emerges as our strongest ally. So the mission soil is not just a quest for healthier soil, it's a collective journey towards resilient soil management. And I would like to bring a word from John. Knowledge is the key of the transformation. This is what we gain.
Great summary. Thank you very much. And actually making the point there at the beginning that you're not on your own if you're part of one of these, but actually the benefit that you can get out of sharing the knowledge, sharing how you do things, the different practice, and then bringing everyone together. And I really like your point about the data, the methodology, and actually monitoring. When I talk about data, it's the monitoring of it, because that's crucial, isn't it? Thank you. The second breakout, soil biodiversity. Who was in this one? Oh, you had a very popular one, Vim. Yeah, they're all listening to you now.
Well, the point always is, if you listen to the one summarizing the session, you think, was this a session I'm in? But still,
I'll ask them afterwards. How's that?
I will try to do my best. So, we also spoke about living labs, because actually we know quite a bit about soil biodiversity. And we know how to collect it from the soil, how to identify it, and there's of course always a demand for more people who need to know how the animals are named and so on and so on. But actually we know a lot about that. But the issue is actually that, and then I come to the living labs, that we realize that we need to talk with people working in the field as farmers or landowners in order to exchange information with them. And also, so why they are doing things as they are doing, and because that's ultimately where it goes wrong. So we just go for soil quality improvement, and that is always measured in terms of yield maximization, but the yield maximization goes at the expense of soil biodiversity. So there should be sort of an optimal point where we have an optimal yield and also an optimal soil biodiversity, because the soil biodiversity is resulting in all the ecosystem services that we depend on. So water holding capacity of the soil, prevention of greenhouse gas emission, prevention of leaching of nutrients to the groundwater, and so on and so on. So we know exactly how to do that, but there's one big problem, and that is that people have to earn money on their land. And so one thing is about food production, but the other thing is about making money and earning a living. So, and that is where the living labs are crucial to our opinion, because there we can see how you can optimize soil biodiversity together with all the other aspects that farmers need to pay attention to. And this is really where, so the co-creation was also mentioned in our group. This is really where it comes down to. So we need to co-create more. It should not be the scientists say, well, here it goes wrong, but together with the farmers and with actually the whole urban or the suburb, the whole community in the rural areas. That's where it needs to be co-created, because else we can talk about soil biodiversity until it's all gone. So we should solve it in a way.
And I think actually, I don't know whether Anna is still with us, but I think that absolutely goes back to her. Yes, goes back to your point earlier about starting with a whole group of people and actually moving the group of people forward rather than one leading and then trying to find somewhere in the middle afterwards.
Exactly. We can't solve it alone, so we have to solve it collectively.
Yeah, thank you. You're all right. I'm not going to ask the audience if they agree with everything you said. I'm sure you'd have been shouted at if that hadn't been the case.
They will know to find me.
Third breakout session. Now, this was a really technical one. This was a good financial one looking at business models. Who was in the business models one? Right. Oh, I think you might have had the busiest one then, actually. Johan, give us a rough idea of what was discussed without going into too much of the financial.
Don't worry. I'm not a financier. So, yeah, we had a good turnout, full house, very engaged public, a good panel. And the panel was a mix of different types of individuals and organizations that they represented, going from philanthropy all the way to an environmental consultancy that focused on industrials. So it was a good mix, and it generated a lot of debate. And I just wrote down a few things that, takeaways, right? There's no particular order to this. The first one is probably that it's a developing field. There's still a lot to be done, and when we talk about business models, the business models as such are crucial to make the change happen, right? We're talking about a systemic shift when we want to improve soil health in any human activity, right? And you can see that the investment community is kind of interested, but they're struggling with the concept maybe, or they want to know more. Proof of concept was one element that was mentioned, so piloting, and that's where philanthropy comes in, because philanthropy can take more risks, we were told. They give the money essentially to test something, and then when you have proof of concept, then maybe the financial community, investors will step in. So that was an interesting learning point. The other thing that was discussed was that investors don't need the complex story of biodiversity and how, and nematodes and what have you, right? They want to know what's the impact that this will generate? What's the investability of the initiative, right? They want to quantify risk when they invest. So that's where there's a difference in language, clearly, between the research community in particular and investors. So we need to bridge that. And maybe that's one of the roles of the mission board, to help with that bridging. We also came up with the argument of why would you invest in soil health? The question was asked, and the return we got from the panel was, well, what's the cost of doing nothing, right? And I thought that was actually turning around. So that was something that we need to use in our argumentation, maybe more. Greenwashing was thrown in the mix at some point by a number of people. Well, this is all greenwashing, this of course, no, and I think the important element there is that you need to demonstrate impact. Words are one thing, pilots are one thing, but you need to demonstrate, and that's where impact investment will hopefully help, and measure that impact and make it very clear what the impact is. Go beyond the concepts, in other words. I'm just going through my list here. Another element that came up was sustainability. And at some point somebody asked, well, is it sustainability, sustainable production of food and what have you, versus price, or price, low price in other words. Consumers prefer maybe low price. And the conclusion was actually that you need to aim for both. And what is key in that is communication with your stakeholders and with consumers as one of the main stakeholders. And bring that narrative as to why soil health and why sustainable production of food are so important. and that it may have an impact on price. But again, what's the price of doing nothing? Yeah, I'll leave it at that. There's a couple of more things, but
that was the main gist of it.
It was very wide and all-encompassing, our discussion, to be honest.
It's really interesting because, you know, as you rightly point out, there has to be a different language spoken. And even if you feel incredibly passionate about something, you know, someone who's looking at a sheet of figures doesn't necessarily need that passion to know whether they want to invest or not. And actually, what I also thought, very similar to what Muriel was saying at the beginning about monitoring the living labs, you do need to monitor and have the data, because once you've got that, you can prove to the investors what, you know, where the money might go. Yeah, no, go for it.
When I say monitoring, it's not only data.
No, sure.
It's a full range of what living labs are capable of. And when I say also win-win situation, it's not the classical win-win situation. What you win is larger. It's also you win for the future generation. You need for more justice. And my question would be, what would be the conditions in which also funders would be in the co-creation process in a living lab?
Yeah. That's the next stage, really, isn't it? Because again, going back to what Anna was saying about bringing everyone together, maybe actually the investors need to be there at the very beginning as well.
Well, just absolutely right. So no,
God,
we spoke about it on the way over here, right? I mean, if you look at the community here, it's the classic community. So a lot of researchers, and it starts with research and measuring and knowledge, but industry is hardly represented here, right? Citizens and municipalities are hardly represented here. There should be more. There's a few, which is good.
Wait till the next session.
Oh, okay, good. Well, there we are. So, but right. So
yeah.
You need the full stakeholder group involved, because it's so wide and all-encompassing, right?
Go on, Feb. Just a real quick one.
Yeah, well. From the investor's perspective, nematodes are useless, but if you realize that nematodes cost billions of euros per year in terms of nematode control. So I think you just choose a wrong group. And actually, and actually, so I think the notes are really nice on the screen.
Yes, look, so what do we think?
And I would like to give a feedback. So what's good for farmers is good for biodiversity, but what's good for biodiversity should be good for farmers. And then it starts operating. So I think there should be a feedback loop there.
Okay, all right. Coletta, this is really challenging you, but throw a feedback loop in there somewhere. Gosh, it's like talking to ChatGPT, isn't it? Can you show me a feedback loop? Oh, something's definitely changing up there.
It's just a feedback loop going up and down.
Okay. She's going to work on it. Yep. Bless her. She's amazing, isn't she? Right. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank our reporters from our breakouts. Thank you. And in fact, written up there already, if it's good for farmers, it's good. Yeah, look at that. There's a feedback loop going in there. So, engaging citizens then, that's what we're going to talk about now. Citizen groups, different municipalities, how that can be done. So what we're going to do now is bring in 3 guests, all who have experience in land management, both regional and local level, and all of them have examples and experience of how to improve soil literacy. So what I would like to do is welcome our 3 guests, and Coletta will be listening to this one as well and drawing along with us. So first of all, please welcome Francesco Molinari, Project Manager of the EU-funded project Humus. Please come and take a seat. Thank you. We've got Raquel Rubio, indeed. Raquel, thank you. Raquel is Chief of Communication and Institutional Relations Department of General Directorate for Strategic Planning of the Government Area of Urbanism, Environment and Mobility at the City of Madrid. How big are your business cards? It's a great title, Raquel. It's lovely to have you here. And Angel Liegra, lovely. Thank you. Come and join us. EU project advisor, cities working in the northern Netherlands and helping other regions get into projects as well. It's lovely to have the three of you here. Francesco, let me start with you. Humus and what you do there. One of your big priorities is to increase the engagement and the understanding. So give the room an idea of how you go about this.
Okay. We have a work plan, of course, of 3 years. The first year is almost ended, and the main achievements of this first year are related with the delivery of a set of policy brief-like deliverables, which can be understood by a broader audience than the usual audience of EU-funded projects or the specific audience of scientists and academics and practitioners of this domain. This is connected with an ambitious training program which will be launched next year and that we have associated with the profile of the so-called soil ambassadors on which we have been talking a lot even today. But this is action research, as we might say. It's experimentation and research at the same time. The second important action we have finalized is the launch of a call for pilot projects, just launched on the 6th of November on the occasion of an event at the Committee of Regions sponsored by the Spanish Presidency of the European Union. This call for pilot projects will reward 20 significant pilot experiences at broad European level, which will have time to be set up and developed during the next 2 years of lifetime for our project, and which will mirror strictly the parallel, concurrent activities carried out in other 13 pilot projects which are being launched internally by the members of the Humus Consortium. So what we can promise is at least a minimum number, if everything goes well, of significant experiences of local and regional community engagement at broad European level, a number that is still small, but I think quite significant for a modest project like ours, which has only a limited scope, but of course we hope to be visible and inspiring enough to give room to further adaptations of our methodology and approach.
Yeah, because if you know, it doesn't matter if you start with a small number of projects. It's all then about what you are doing, what you are learning, and how you scale up and share that knowledge. We'll get on to some of the specific examples in just a moment. Raquel, let's talk to you. City of Madrid, lots of great examples, I imagine. But first off, when it comes to public policy, I mean, do you include soil health? Is that in any of your policies? Is it something that's talked about, discussed at all?
Thank you very much, Sasa, for your question. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today for intervening in this interesting session. I hope you all are enjoying our fantastic city these sunny days. I would like to thank also the organizers for inviting us, and also the attendees and all the people that are following this session in streaming. In Madrid, we have more than 60,000 hectares of territory with 26 tree cover. So we have a lot of green areas, and in which we live more than 3 million people. We take into consideration in the process of planning, urban planning in the city, of course, environmental conditions, for example, soil health. We are developing a project that is called Bosque Metropolitano that aims to connect all the green big areas of in the surrounding of the city, not in the city center, to create a green infrastructure, to implement biodiversity, to increment also the sustainability of the city, and of course, to contribute to the welfare and health of people. In this project, we have developed 5 master plans that have initially approved and that have been, all the citizens have been consulted. We made a participatory process at the very beginning of the project. And after, when we made these plans, these master plans that have specific conditions for the management of soils and for the land use, we communicate it on internet, and we opened some months for the public to make their comments, and now we are studying them. So I can affirm that in Madrid City Council we take into consideration soil and their conditions in our planning.
Okay, so it's definitely in there in policies. We'll get some examples from you in a moment then of how it works and that. And you're, just so I understand correctly, you're trying to put green infrastructure in between your different green open spaces. So quite literally green pathways, so that's that sort of thing, so... Yeah.
We want to connect these spaces better.
Right.
We are going to create a forestal avenue with a path for citizens to go by bicycle or other ways to their centers of work, to the parks every day, not only on Friday, Sunday, but also from Monday to Friday. We want to increase the biodiversity of the city, and we consider is something we need to connect the space.
So you can commute in a lovely environment on your bicycle, and yeah, you'd obviously would like that, yes. Well, when it comes to commuting on bicycles,
let's go to the Netherlands.
Did that work well? Yeah, let's move to the Netherlands. So. Give us sort of a sense of what you're doing and what you're sort of dealing with, coming up against, that sort of thing.
Yes, so as you were mentioning, maybe for those of you who don't know me, like I work for actually 4 cities from the northern part of the Netherlands. And when it comes to projects, especially related on soil, I would like to shed some light maybe on one city in particular, Leeuwarden, which maybe some of you may know.
Should we find out? Anyone been there?
Okay, maybe the Dutch people in the room might maybe know about it. But yeah, maybe some concrete examples of what the city has been doing in the past years. Actually, some things that are maybe not super innovative or not super big, like some simple measures. For instance, banning herbicides and pesticides when using, in the current management of the green areas in the cities. They also have worked with the region as well on an analysis of all the soil typologies to also make sure to use this in terms of urban planning. And one thing as well, they are currently developing a tool, I think that echoes a bit the colleague from Amsterdam this morning, like a tool to identify useless pavement in the city. So, because like you were saying, actually greening cities is also a priority for a lot of cities all around Europe, also to become climate neutral. And identifying this kind of useless pavement, that would help as well, bringing also more green and ensure that the soil could be freed again in some sort. And maybe one other example, it's not at all sexy on paper, but something they have been working in Leeuwarden, also with the municipalities in the region, relates to closing the nutrient loop and using, for instance, human poop for this. So they actually led a campaign in May, which was literally called Give a Shit. And no kidding. And that was actually the opportunity to raise awareness about how human excreta could be used and brought back to soil. You could use the nutrients from it. And they collected poops around the region for the farmers.
Would anybody like me to ask further questions on this? I mean, I don't think I cannot. So, Because well, it seems like an amazing way of getting people involved and engaged, because that's just a great campaign. But what sort of take-up? I mean,
well, to be honest, when I first heard about it, I was also a bit surprised. I was like, that's not the kind of project I expected. But I think it's very interesting, and that's one of the pillars they're working on when it comes to closing this nutrient loop. Like also they're working on using the grass that's cut on the roadside and also food waste, this kind of thing. So it's part of a bigger project. But I thought this is actually a nice way, like they also have this kind of food truck that goes into festivals and events around the region, which is called Broodje Poep for the Dutch people in the room. And that also is to increase awareness and to tell like, yeah, actually we could be using this to bring like, and that also led to an ambition in the region, like by 2050, they want this loop to be closed, and they want that, because now those human excreta, they just go to waste, they just go into the sludges. We don't use this. We import fertilizers, we import like inputs. I'm no technician, so, but I think that's how it works at the moment. So let's make it circular, let's make it local. And I think municipalities in this sense have a role to play and to showcase like also that it's possible, and that's, like you said, a very easy way to involve citizens, make it fun also for children, for instance.
Well, I was going to say, if you want to involve citizens and get children interested, I mean, yeah, Mummy, I'm not swearing, it's the name of the campaign. I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, tell me, Raquel, do you have any plans for anything like that in the city of Madrid?
Not for the moment. We recycle compost, the bio-waste.
The bio-waste. So they're like going to fuel and things like that, but not quite as directly. And no. You're on your own in that one. It brings up a brilliant point, though, about how to get that initial engagement and the interest from a citizen. And then once you've got the interest, you can then give them the knowledge that they need. So, fabulous example. But let's get some other examples of how you've tried to engage. Actually, do you know what? Before I get some examples, let me just go along the line. Where do you think, on the scale of engagement, the average citizen is? And I'll ask the room as well. I'd just be interested to get your thoughts. So 0 is no knowledge, don't care, really, really just don't even think about it. That's 0. 10 is probably you guys in the room, okay? Where do you think?
We should qualify the question.
Okay.
What if we give an initial set of elements, informative elements, to the average citizen, which may help him or her to get preliminary information?
No, but sure. But right now, before we do any of that, do you think there is much knowledge?
No.
No. Okay. Raquel, much knowledge at all with the average citizen? Where would you put it?
I think your question is centered in soil health.
Yeah, in soil health, yeah.
I think soil is not very well known by the citizens.
One or two, maybe? Yeah? No?
5%.
5? You go 5, okay. What do you reckon?
I don't think so many people know a lot about it. And it also might depend on whether you live in a densified urban area or maybe more in the countryside. Yeah. So I would say, yeah, 4 or 5, because I want to be optimistic.
Okay, well, fair enough, fair enough. So how do you then get that through to someone who wants to learn? How would you do it?
Through the informative elements I was mentioning earlier. So to me at least, this is the typical topic that generates a wow effect in people. So it's not that people are unaware because they don't want or they don't care. It's simply that it has never been a priority. Also, this morning there were many contributions to the Slido survey going in the same direction. So someone has to do the first move and do it consistently for some time, trying to aim at some outreach in terms of numbers and also variety of target people. Then we can repeat the question and see if the number changes, of how much, and also the reference to future generations. I think it would be crucial. As a father, for example, I would personally change my opinion if put in front of a perspective that includes the well-being of my children or grandchildren.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, when you look at other similar areas, like sustainable energy and the like, and a lot of it can be driven by what adults think of what their children are beginning to say and think.
I would like to add one thing in this line, because we have developed a campaign, an educational campaign in collaboration with the schools, with public schools of the city of Madrid. And we, from Madrid City Council, we have done some materials, educational materials for the teacher to use in their classrooms. And also we have a comic, this very nice, I recommend you, we have in our website. And it's a new material to communicate to a wide range of public, of citizens, not only young people, but also adults, the importance of nature in our city, no? And the diversity of soils we have, because, for example, in southeast of Madrid, we have deciferous soils, and they determine the type of plants they grow. And it's a nice way of communicate and engage people, a comic to work with the schools. And also we have developed a communication campaign on the streets. At the beginning of this year, we made 11 small wooden nurseries in collaboration with some private companies. And with the slogan, Madrid, if you take care of this soil will take care of you. And with seeds, and you could see the evolution of these wooden nurseries and how the plants started to appear in the soil. So it was very nice, and it was also very useful to count with private companies to develop this campaign, because I think there is interest in civil society in general and in companies to collaborate, to communicate this thing to people.
So actually you can get the private companies on board with the money. Do you find that at all? That actually maybe there's some private money, private company money?
I wouldn't be able to tell for sure.
Right.
At the moment it's not really something that's on the radar. But to be honest, like, I'm always impressed to hear like this kind of initiatives, because if I look at my cities, soil until very recently was not really on our radar. Like, it was embedded in a lot of policies and projects, like linked to circular economy, for instance, biodiversity, or the link with agriculture, but it was not really a core priority. And you see now that there is really a momentum. I hope maybe it's because of the soil mission and all the dynamic that's going on at the European level, but you can tell that it's becoming more and more of a priority. And I think we will definitely have to work with the private sector, but at least for now, it's not really, like, we are trying to develop new business models as well, linked with the previous session, and also working with new startups that develop products, especially in a more circular way, but it's not really mature, I would say.
Not yet.
Not mature enough.
Not yet.
Not yet.
And that, as you very rightly point out, that harks back to the breakout, talking about the economics, maybe the different language that needs to be spoken, and wait to get that synergy there. Let's take some questions from the room, and we'll take questions on Slido as well. So if you want to put your question on Slido, if you're in the room, that's absolutely fine. If you're watching us online, please submit your questions now. We've got one down here. Let's get a microphone to this gentleman here. Fantastic, thank you. And if you haven't already, I can see some people doing the QR code. There you go. There you go. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself first, thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Victor Boga, farmer from north of Spain. And it's more than a question, it's a reflection on how to engage citizens from the big urban cities with soil health. And I think always that our brain is directly connected with our stomach, the stomach with the food, and the food with the soil. But between the chain between the food and the soil is very large. Distribution and supermarket, all this line. Maybe if we connect more the citizens with the farmers, more closer, you make shorter the relation between the citizen and the soil. That is the last objective.
So have the transparency of the food chain, where the food comes from, but actually shorten it so they can directly see.
I think it's impossible to change the distribution of food, but I think that a good idea to connect is when you are a citizen, for example, here in Madrid, and you go for a walk, if you transform urban gardens in horticultural garden, not all, but some, you are putting in your brain the soil, the connection between the food and you eat and the soil, and then you can later, I think it's easier to engage people. Oh, but this soil, if it's not healthy, your food is not healthy.
So sorry, I misunderstood. So it's actually growing things within a city that it's
an example to shorten the chain of between the soil health and the citizens.
Sure, I can see that both of you, all of you, want to come in there. Can I just ask the technical desk if I can just have my screen flipped around to Slido? Would be fantastic. Thank you. God, who wants to come in?
I can start. It was more a comment or a reaction, like maybe when you talk about engaging citizens and I think about the role of regions and cities, maybe I should have also mentioned, so I'm working for Dutch cities, but we're also active in a network that's called ERIN, the European Regions for Research and Innovation Network, that has been following the development of the soil mission ever since the start. And I would say, we appreciate the soil mission as well because there's this bottom-up approach. And when it comes to engaging citizens, for instance, I believe there is really a major role to play for regions and cities to facilitate and coordinate this kind of local dialogue. And I think that's where they can engage better citizens with communication tools. I think that's what you're trying to do as well in Madrid. So it was just more like a comment as well, a reflection on the role that regions and cities here can play, like maybe the missing link as well with citizens, because they have, I think, the possibility and the competencies to create this dialogue as well with this sometimes often forgotten stakeholder.
Coming back to what I was said before in relation with the campaign in school, we are trying in some pilot schools to recover the natural soil, because sometimes it has changed and we have other kind of materials in the playgrounds. So we try to also incorporate urban orchards in the schools. And apart from that, we have community orchards everywhere in Madrid that they are managed by the local community. But also we want to engage people in productive plots of the Madrid City Council. We have opened a competition for some productive models to implement in Madrid in plots that are of our ownership. And it's a pilot project, but I think it's important to engage people in the role of soil for their health, no? Yeah. Through the food stuff. So it's very interesting, your question, and we have also a strategy of sustainable health food stuff in Madrid. So I think we have to integrate it, because in big cities like Madrid, sometimes you disconnect and you don't know where your food is productive. So it's a good idea to incorporate farming inside the city to be able to know how is the process of producing the food we eat.
So it'd be interesting to see, when you're looking at your green corridors, the green walkways, actually the food can be with sort of integrated with those as well.
Yeah, we still have some traditional agriculture in Madrid, and we want to preserve it because we consider it's very important near the river Manzanares and also in the north part of the city. So it's a cultural heritage and something that is historical, and for the Madrid City Council, we want to preserve it.
Mm-hmm. Francesco, your thoughts. And I'm going to take another question. We'll get one down here. If we can get the microphone. Lovely, thank you. Go on.
Okay, two comments. First, following what our colleague said before, people may not be aware of the soil problems per se, but they are very aware of the implications that soil problems create to their own lives and the lives of their children and relatives. For example, pollution, contaminated industrial soil, for example, or urban soil, is an issue that affects thousands, probably millions of people across Europe. There are indeed some city managers trying to speculate where the balance should be between new development projects that increase the number of houses in the area and preservation of green areas for collective usage. Maybe considerations about soil could be added, soil quality, I mean, could be added to these activities of scenario building. That was my first comment. Second comment, and I am coming back to our project. We should also ask ourselves why we would like to engage the citizens more. If it's only because we think that broader awareness is better than less, okay, fine. But there is also an instrumental reason for doing this, which is evident in the profiles of our pilots, which we have sketched in our activity. The topic is to engage people because we want to fasten the process of restoring, if possible, or at least mitigating the negative impacts of human activities in collective areas, collectively lived areas. So why is also an interesting question, and we have some answers, but I will let you know later.
Okay, brilliant. Gentleman here.
I'm Erwin from Austria. I want to underline the saying of the colleague, food is a key. The mission was called earlier Soil Health and Food, and 100% need food. So food can be a key, and we can learn from the Rodel Institute from US, the eldest bio institute. They have a motto, healthy soil is healthy food, is healthy people. And so we can come to the people, and another key could be arts. Yeah. So bringing soil to the people through arts. Thank you.
Thank you. So really making that link there. Thank you. Any other questions in the room? Yes, absolutely. We'll grab a microphone. Up the stairs on the left. Fantastic. Thank you. Superb. And if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself first, please.
Hello, I'm Shaz. I'm representing ZALF. So I'm just giving some scientific context to the comments they made, the connection between food and people. So there is a survey made on American children, and they were asked sources of different food. So 40% thinks hot dog is a fruit.
Okay.
Yes, and 47% think bacon is plant-based, and 50% think French fries is animal-based. So there is a disconnect between what kids and the local citizens, their understanding of foods and where it comes from, and then again connecting it back to the soil. So there's food for thought.
So yeah, very well. Good point, well made. Thank you. So almost the suggestion is that instead of starting with soil as being the opening bit of the conversation, it should be food, or maybe just linking the two. Francesco is nodding there. There's an interesting question about the finances, and I'm going to slightly open it out a bit, because this person wants to know about business models for soil health and whether they should basically put the land manager interests first. So when you are looking at the different business models of what you want to take forward, where does your priority lie? Raquel, you're looking at me as if you've got an example of this.
Yeah, we have a program that is called Madrid Compensa. That is a program to collaborate with companies that want to plant in Madrid. and to compensate their footprint of carbon. So I think there is a huge interest of private companies to compensate their footprints, and local governments have to deal with this and have to collaborate with them, because they are part of the society, and it's a way to obtain funds to become a greener city. So these kind of models that the reward is they obtain this kind of compensation, and also, of course, their image. No? I think they look for their social responsibility and to publish that they are doing something for the society. No?
Does anybody else want to come? Francesca?
Yes, I was mentioning already, there is a French city, I will not name, but it's work in progress, trying to develop a decision support system to take decisions between alternative projects of urban development, based on the balance between built and green environment. And an interesting thing is that they are using soil parameters as a proxy for the impact that new developments may generate, or even existing developments. The tool, if and when it is available, might also be used for individual households to assess whether they are living in a comparable good environment with their neighbors.
Yeah. Interesting, because that will open up all sorts of other questions about the worth of land, the worth of homes, and all the rest of it. Yeah.
I would like to add something, because I would like to underline the role of landowners, because in Madrid they do the urbanization process. So they have to plant trees and bushes in collaboration with Madrid City Council, but they have a key role, because the owners are organizing Junta de Compensación. Is like is where they organize, and they do a plan for urbanization of their plots, and we have to approve this plan. So finally, they do the green areas, and they give to the council. So it's a collaboration process during all the urbanization process. So I think it's important to underline the role of landowners also.
Yeah, looking at things in the far wider context as well, and who else needs to play in. Just one very quick one for you on going back to the initiative of using human waste. Unsurprisingly, questions on this one. I'm going to keep this one really short, but there's a question about the pollution potential of this, and if it's used in further food production. I don't know whether you know the...
To be honest, I don't know, but I'm happy to put you in contact with the persons who are in charge of the project, because I'm not sure. I'm no technician and no expert, but I'm happy to put you in touch with the persons.
I have to say, it's made Coletta's drawing as well, unsurprisingly. So with the bicycle at the bottom. Just one final word from all of you, just a really short point before we end this session. This session was about engaging citizens. Your best bit of advice that the whole room can take away. What will really engage a citizen? Francesco.
Be consistent. One-off experiments don't function well.
Okay, so just keep, and with the same message. Okay, Raquel?
I think you have to be innovative and to try to address all citizens of all ages, starting from the schools and to all range of ages. Is very important.
Very quick question that came in saying, should it be kept simple? And actually, I imagine probably you would agree.
Can I have two answers?
You may.
I would say, first of all, don't forget the role of regions and cities. That's one thing. And it's a bit more personal, but also linked to what the city of Leeuwarden is doing. And also don't forget the role played by culture and arts make it easier for people to understand what soil can do. We are actually now working, Leeuwarden was European Capital of Culture in 2018, and they still try to bring up this legacy to life. And for the next edition in 2025, they are also trying to discuss what they could do on soil and think of soil as a common ground, actually, for people. So maybe bring culture and arts as well into perspective on this.
Great point.
It's a suggestion, I put this here.
Yeah,
no, whatever you want
lovely point, and fits in with so many of the other points that have been made over, the last now two days. Ladies and gentlemen, I think some great ideas, great examples. Thank you very much. Thank you. By the way, before you go, I have to say, identifying useless pavement. I think that has to be one of Coletta. I think that's one of your best ones yet. I think as we all leave tonight, let's just go and try and identify useless pavement and let Raquel know. How's that? Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, what we're going to move on to in our final session today is a session of two parts. We're going to look at the Mission Soil Manifesto, and then we're going to look at the Mission Soil Ambassadors. Well, meet the Mission Soil Ambassadors. So in the first part, we're going to look at some of the facts and figures around the manifesto at the moment. So just to give you an update of what's going on there and sort of some of the thinking behind it, but actually where it's going. And then we'll get to the people who are the new ambassadors. So to talk about the latest statistics from the manifesto, Kirsten, where are you? I've lost you. There you are. Fantastic. Right in front of me as well. Would you like to come and give us an update on the research, the facts and the figures? And you can take the stand there. Lovely. Thank you.
The statistics, because it's better to see the people in practice. And we also don't want to overdo it. With the advertisement, but maybe just a word before going into the statistics. On the manifesto itself. So among the 5 Horizon Europe missions were actually latecomers to this process of deciding whether we want to have an action like that or not. So whether the climate mission already had very early a climate charter. So the ocean mission has their instrument. So we were a bit hesitant. So as towards, so is this how do we design this best that we really have impact and we have use of this? It's taken a while. So we've done a bit of a co-creative process on that one as well. So we have not come from the Commission side and said, okay. So even we were going for a charter when we then had decided. So exactly what was said here also, it's a momentum. I mean, we still need it, so we should capitalize on that, and we should make it something that is worthwhile for the community to sign and engage and do further with. But then, okay, even, so what we call it and what's the instrument, so we did it together with a group of people, also with communication specialists and so on. So that's then what became. We rather think manifesto was a good thing. So for engagement and for getting there. And I don't want to be so, I mean, of course, this is for everyone and for every entity and for every legal representative and every cities to decide. But I just hearing from Raquel, okay, all of this you do, I know it's, for these kind of signatures, it's a long legal process, so I appreciate it. That's what I heard from a lot of regional and local actors, but it's worth it. So you do fantastic things, so please capitalize on it. And I know, so it's maybe yeah, I don't know, easier or whatever, sometimes to also to have this, so joining the climate movement, but exactly because soil needs more attention, it's really, really important to do this. So I'm not leaving you off the hook, Raquel. So, so now, okay, sorry, before getting carried away, I'm here for the statistics, before we get some real life movement, but I can't get to my statistics. Bridget was right. So there we are. So wonderful. So I'm not recalling, I've already said that before, but so it's a non-legally binding document. You don't risk anything if you sign it. So you can sign it so as an individual, so but also as a regional, local, public authorities, private, public organizations, NGOs, philanthropic organizations. So basically everyone. So important. And in terms of statistics, this is always a bit tricky. So why am I like that on there? But sometimes it's good to show this, to say a little bit where we are. So in terms of individual signatories, so on personal, so it's about 80% of the total signatories. So we have many in the EU, of course, but also many outside. So when we went to the COP, last year, also with a session, so for instance, we had our Indian colleagues promoting this very much, so with the Safe Soil movement, so you can see many Indian signatories there, so if you ask from outside. So and the majority is employed in the field of research, so that, yeah, of course, because we come from that, but we want to go much beyond that. So I think that's important, and we have, of course, a contribution from all member states, but of course, we can have a much better coverage still there. Now, when we go to the legal entities of the signatories, so it's about 16% of them overall, so most of them in the EU. And what is good news is that most signatories represent legal entities coming from the private sector. So that's really good, I think. So there we're not doing too badly, including farming and forestry, and followed by NGOs. So you can see that here. So, and then again, it's really what we would like really to raise the profile, to really, I mean, we're all soil enthusiasts in the room. I think we have proven that throughout the discussions of these 2 days and another day tomorrow. So that's why it's important so to get more of us on board, because it also permits us to see, okay, how can, to identify a community with which we can exchange further. And for the regions and municipalities, they really play a key role on that. So also for Angel, so I know you're doing that, so through Erin, but really this is important because we would like to have the map, not of all soils and all regions covered. So if we can, in the process of this, and we'll do everything that we can. So what are the benefits again? So be part of a community of soil health when you're an individual of soil advocates, so with who share knowledge and best practice, and as a legal entity, so really show your commitment to soil health among communities and also get publicly displayed on the Mission Soil platform. So it's a give win-win process. So here we are, and now we'll listen to those who are actually signatories already, and maybe why. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Before you go, can you just go back a couple of slides? Do you mind just going the other way?
Not at all, if my battery allows.
Yep, one more back. I caught my eye, the individuals by occupation. What occupation would you like to really see come up that list? I thought about the urban and spatial planners, because surely when we're talking about all the cities and the citizen engagement, actually it's got to be in the planning at the beginning, or what would you like to see come up that list?
Well, I mean, like, I think as this is really a process for engaging everybody, obviously. So, like I said, okay, we're really doing good on scientists, so this is good, so, but all the others, but I mean, in terms of, for instance, educators and teachers, so already we're not doing too badly. Agricultural advisors, great, because these are the people, so even if we have not too many individual farmers yet, but we will have more, but the advisors are those that are reaching out to farmers, so they're really important. So this is really something that we need to get up. Of course, media as well, so to talk about it. So if we get all these categories to get a bit more closer to the researchers, which are, if you're rooted in research programs, it's our natural consistencies. So that's really important.
So actually, you're so right. If you're, if you get a teacher, you get a class, don't you? Who in the room is now thinking of a teacher or a school that actually, could actually go into and start talking to them about this? Kirsten, thank you so much. Thank you for going through that. And as you say, we're now going to actually meet some of the examples. Well, we're going to hear and meet some of the examples. So first of all, if I could ask to come on stage, please. We have Maria Cruz Ferreira Costa from the region of Murcia. Maria. You have fantastic, lovely. Come and join us. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Jose Miguel de Paz Barracas, senior researcher at the Valencian Institute. Jose, thank you so much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our first two signatories. Thank you so much. Now, before we hear from you, we have a couple of videos of people who can't be here today. So first of all, we're delighted to have a recorded video message from Frida Nelson. Now, Frida is from the European Committee of the Regions Rapporteur for the Soil Monitoring Directive at Lidköping Municipality. So I believe we can now hear from Frida.
Kära deltagare i Soil Week. Först och främst så vill jag be om ursäkt för att jag inte har varit bland er alla de senaste dagarna i Madrid. Jag måste vara i Bryssel där jag för närvarande leder en annan markstrid. Jag vänder mig till er idag som jordbrukare och deltidspolitiker. Men framförallt som en person som är djupt oroad över tillståndet för våra markhälsa.
Okay, I tell you what we'll do. I'm going to have a chat first, and then let me know when we're ready to go. Brilliant, fantastic. Okay, so you've both signed the manifesto. Before we talk about your reasons for doing it, tell me what you are doing in your different areas. Should we start with Valencia? Yeah, please do. Yes, and for you as well.
Okay. Yes. Okay, yes. Just to answer this question, what we are doing about the preserve and promote the soil health in our region. I come from the Comunidad Valenciana, Valencia, is in the coast, Mediterranean coast of Spain. And in order to answer this question, we have to keep in mind that the soil health is quite complex concept. And just to give us a good answer for these questions, I have two parts, I have two groups. My answer is 4 different answers that are related with the main factors and the main processes that are affecting our soil health in Valencian community. The first one is the soil erosion. The soil erosion affects 52% of our area in Valencia, because we live we have very different type of soils. The topography is quite hilly, and also we have a very intensive rainfall during the autumn. And in order to protect or to restore this problem of water erosion, the farmers, for example, use terrace just to grow the plants, the crops, and also they plant the crops in contour lines too. In addition to that, also we have a very important problem with the fires in the forest. And after one fire in the forest, the burned area usually are protected with some application of straw in several points, hot spot, in order to protect the soils against the soil erosion before the November, that is when the rainfall, intensive rainfall is coming up. Also, we're trying to protect against the soil erosion, just to restore the watershed, clean the riverbeds in order to reduce the problems of floods. That is also quite important in our region. This is just regarding the soil erosion. Now, the soil salinity is a second factor that is also affecting the soil health in our region, mainly at the south part and close to the coast too. We have big problems there. 21% of the area, total area, are affected by soil salinity. And in order to reduce the problem and to protect the soils, farmers install drainage and keep clean this drainage in order to wash out all the salinity, all the salts that are dissolved in the irrigation water and also in the soil. Additionally to this, also the farmers are starting to use new alternative water, that is the salinization water, treated water, and also water that coming from other watersheds with a good, better quality than in that area. The third part is, or the third factor is the contamination. Also, our region is affected by nitrogen contamination. It's one of the most contaminated area around Europe. 62% of the area was declared in 2022 as vulnerable to nitrogen, so it's quite an important problem. In order to reduce the problem of contamination in nitrogen, there are several regulations, regional, national, and also the European directives that are applying in this area. And in which one we have to regulate it and control all the fertilizer applications, mineral and also organic fertilizers. The fourth one is we are detecting a reduce of soil organic carbon in our soils. 42% of our soils, of agricultural soils, has a very low levels of soil organic carbon. So it's a big problem that now we are not considered in our region. We are very concerned about that. What are the activities to protect that or to improve the soil organic carbon in our region? Just to, at the moment, use the farmers applying the eco schemes of the common agricultural policy in order to protect the soils or to improve the soil organic carbon, implementing cover crops, mulching, and also they are using manures in our region to increment this soil organic carbon. I think that this is the fourth factors that are affecting mainly in our region.
So there's a lot, you're in a challenging environment, but there is a lot that you are doing. Yeah, lots of different things. Thank you for that. Maria, what about you? When you look at Murcia, tell us about your soils and what you are doing to improve soil health.
Hi all. First of all, thank you for inviting us to be here. It's quite impressive for me because most of my teachers study here. So it's the first time I talk here. It's like, oh my goodness, I am just remembering my teachers and professors. You know, my hands are sweating. Like, I have to admit, I'm a bit nervous. And then you have to choose either to be comfortable on the chair or even for the picture. So it's like,
right, everyone take a picture of Maria now. Would you like to present from there?
It's okay. I manage. By the way, I fell down when I went to sign the manifesto in Brussels, and I have pain in my back. But this is another issue. Okay, where is Murcia? No one knows where is Murcia. Murcia is around the corner, but in the map. You know what I mean? If you look at the map of Spain, you see the southeast, and we are around the corner. And this is where we are. But basically, most of people, they don't know. They think we are part of Andalusia or we are part of Valencia. No, we are independent by law, not like others that want to be independent. Okay? And I'm not going to be politician in that. Okay, by the way, we export basically 25% of the fruits and vegetables we do export in the country. So basically 1 of 4 fruits and vegetables you eat are produced in our region. We have the biggest fleet truck the second biggest, in Europe, and the biggest refrigerated fleet truck in Europe. So we have a lot of trucks, we have a lot of problem with mobility, we have a lot of problem with land use, we have a lot of problem with everything. And basically it's where the sun leaves. This is what they say in the statement of the, the publicity of tourism. And I say, why the sun doesn't go to live any other way? Because honestly, the temperature around the average is around 20, 22, due to climate change is rising. So now we are like in your European summer. So if you want to come to summer in Murcia, there we are the whole year. And the summer is hell, basically. I mean, we reach like 48, 52. So if you want, if no one, I'm sure everyone here believes in climate change. And if you don't, come to my house and I will explain you, because we have a living lab on climate change, okay? So basically is what we have. Yeah, for us it's very important to explain this, because when we do European projects, for instance, we go to Finland and they claim as well, because of climate change, it's not raining enough, and the ice are melting, and now we know, of course, all of us, we suffer from climate change. But this one size, clothing from the European Commission sometimes does not fit for all of us, because I'm sure the problems Holland has, or for instance, myself, I come from the north of Spain, now I live in the south. I will explain you in another speech why I live.
That's obviously another story entirely.
But by the way, I mean, honestly, the problems we do have, for instance, in France or in the south of Europe, nothing compare. I mean, the risk of desertification, the scarcity of water, and I mean, the land use that has been, used during the previous year, that maybe there were another kind of sensibility and people didn't believe as much as climate change as we do now. It's a reality and it's happening. So this is one of our main problems. So basically, all of us in Spain, we have a law talking about vulnerability and assessment and impact and everything. We have a law on climate, all of us in Spain. And as well, we have a law on evaluación ambiental. That I don't know how to say it now in English, but yeah, exactly. And most of the people, they don't use this law on environmental assessment to just, like check the impact on the soil and on La Ley 21-2013. 21-2013. So in case we're the only one region, I think, in Europe, trying to just evaluate the environmental assessment within, the environmental projects and so on. And this is something that the law is there, and it has to be practically used for these purposes. So basically, we do during the whole environmental assessment, as well the soil, study and so on. And this is something that helps us, to just more or less the biggest impacts are done by this law. The other small, I mean, we have many projects. We have, for instance, adaptation and mitigation at municipal level, or for instance, we promote environmental agreements for adaptation and mitigation as well. Now we will have soon a carbon register, talking about sinks, but in the voluntary session, okay? Due to RCS, like social corporate responsibility, really many companies are interested. So this is something I invite you to just promote in your region. By the way, I was a bit surprised about the people who signed the manifesto.
Why?
Why? Because personally myself, I am EU Climate Pact ambassador, and yeah, I'm very commitment and everything is okay. I can, do you another speech about the climate change and so on. But I mean, if the government does not implement a law, it's not the carrot or the stick. We're basically, all of us go because of the stick, not because of the carrot. So there are many people on voluntary basis, which is nice. But I mean, if the region or whatever, the municipality or the national level, and it's a pity the national government, I don't know if there's anyone here from the national government, but it's a pity that during the Spanish presidency, they didn't take the opportunity to promote this activity. I'm sure they were busy on other issues, but...
I was going to say, if there is anyone here, I don't think they're going to say anything now.
I saw a woman, but she left. She saw me coming, like, she's from the other party, No, by the way, I mean, it's a pity. I mean, I'm sure, I mean, we can do it at regional level or, you know, within like the network we have in Spain to promote the pact, because I mean at the end the sizes of our region, for instance Andalusia, when we talk about sizes, I'm not from Andalusia, but it's like, you know, 11 countries from Europe. So this kind of, when the people talk about sizes, for instance the community of Madrid is the city of Madrid, sorry, is the size of Denmark. So when they talk about, you know, the measures or, you know, how we should do that or the other, I mean, we should think about the sizes. So basically I can give you some figures that I would like to read. That our region, most of people, they don't know, but almost 25% of the land of the region of Murcia is protected by natural spaces by the Red Natura 2000, Nature Network 2000.
Okay.
Red Natura 2000, ¿se dice así? Yeah, Natura 25 of the region, which for us is a lot. Huh? In these spaces, of course, the conservation tasks are done, and sustainable forest management as well. We have another meeting here tomorrow as well to talk about the, you know, the regulation that is done in the parliament within the absorption of carbon. We want to, you know, promote this regulation. At the end, I'm from the environmental department. I am not from the agricultural department. And we look at the manifesto from the environmental side as a carbon sink. Because in Murcia, we have more than 55,000, I mean with the numbers, 55,000 trees that produce fruits, and as well they also absorb carbon. So for us, this is one of the main points. And another figure I would like to give is like the region of Murcia has more than 118,000 hectares dedicated to organic farming, which correspond more or less to 32% of the total cultivated area. And in the region, we have given to the farming, has granted the regional government has granted to the organic farming the amount of 44 million euros from both, from our own funds and as well from the European funds, corresponding as well to the period 2022 and 2023. So I will try to promote the organic farming. As well, as I say, we incorporate the specific measures into the plans, program, projects through this environmental evaluation procedure. And as I say before, I mean, we work a lot with the industry on voluntary agreements for adaptation and mitigation, and promote as well, as I said, at municipal level, okay? We have a lot of live projects, Interreg projects and so on. We are the region who has more projects on soil, as well due for our, you know, like economic-based society. We are based on agriculture, and so we are the region that has worked more on carbon absorption and carbon sinks and so on. And if you want a partner, we are a good partner. Okay?
I think it's really, really clear why you've signed the manifesto and everything there. Brilliant. Thank you. Jose, just very briefly, because I'm really conscious of time, and we're going to meet the ambassadors shortly as well, and I believe we're also going to hear some of the videos as well. But why did you decide, just briefly, to sign the manifesto?
Okay, we decided to sign the manifesto because we are very concerned about the process of the soil degradation that we're in our region. Because a lot of time ago that the farmers doesn't care about the soil as a natural resource just to produce the crops. And also you think that is a good point now to sign this and then to start to concern about that. For the reason we signed this manifesto, but we think that is a good point just to promote to promote this concept of the soil health with the farmers, that is our best, our end user of our knowledge in our research institute, and also, and this was the main reason for to sign the manifesto, yes.
So to actually sort of to get that there and to make sure that everywhere, it's to get the visibility, isn't it? Fantastic. So really pleased to say that we can now actually hear from two other areas that have signed the manifesto. And I believe, I'm hoping that the first one that we are going to hear from is Frida Nilsson from the Lidköping municipality. Hopefully we can now hear from Frida.
Deltagare i Soul Week. Först och främst så vill jag be om ursäkt för att jag inte har varit bland er alla de senaste dagarna i Madrid. Jag måste vara i Bryssel där jag för närvarande leder en annan markstrid. Jag vänder mig till er idag som jordbrukare och deltidspolitiker, men framförallt som en person som är djupt oroad över tillståndet för vår markhälsa. Fokus för mitt nuvarande politiska arbete är att belysa varför markhälsan är av ytterst vikt. Varför vi måste agera nu och vad våra fokus bör vara för att ta itu med den här kritiska frågan. Jag gör detta genom att leda arbetet med den gemensamma ståndpunkten för europeiska städer och regioner. Och jag ska vara ärlig, det är ingen lätt uppgift. Ansvaret är stort. Markhälsan är inte bara en angelägenhet för oss som brukar jorden. Den påverkar alla medborgare, miljön och vår ekonomi. Det är själva grunden för vårt samhälle vilar på. Och utan rena och friska jordar står vi inför allvarliga konsekvenser. Markförstöring påverkar vår hälsa, tillståndet i vår naturliga omgivning och försörjning av våra djur. Det här får långsiktiga konsekvenser för vår ekonomi. Vi måste erkänna hållbarhet, särskilt när det gäller markhälsa, som en grundläggande princip som styr våra handlingar. Vi befinner oss i ett avgörande skede när det gäller att ta itu med markhälsan. Enligt den europeiska miljöbyrån anser majoriteten av EUs jordar vara ohälsosamma, med en potentiellt 2,8 miljoner förorenade platser. Denna försämring medför en svindlande ekonomisk kostnad som uppskattas till över 50 miljarder euro per år. Det är en börda som vi inte längre har råd att bära, särskilt inte när vi har kunskap och resurser att förhindra den. När vi ger oss ut på den här resan för att återställa markhälsan måste vi se till att snäva mål inte hindrar ett effektivt genomförande. Markförhållandena varierar kraftigt i Europa, från ekosystem till klimat och administrativa strukturer. Flexibilitet i övervakning och bedömning är avgörande för att ta hänsyn till lokala skillnader och säkerställa att våra tillvägagångssätt är anpassningsbart, kostnadseffektivt och väl mottaget av allmänheten. Vår europeiska kontinent har nyligen drabbats av förödande händelser, från skogsbränder till katastrofala översvämningar. Dessa händelser har ett djupgående inverkan på vår markkvalitet, vilket gör det ännu viktigare att effektivisera och stärka synergierna mellan klimat- och miljöbestämmelser. Men låt er inte vilseledas. Jag är ingen drömmare. Jag är mycket väl medveten om att varje förändring också kräver en förändring av tankesätt, förvärv och delning av expertis och inte att förglömma ekonomiska medel. Jag vet att de flesta av er som tittar på det här meddelandet idag också vet det av egna erfarenheter. Hållbarhet för våra jord är tekniskt möjligt. Ekonomiskt ännu inte fullt genomförbart, men möjligt. Men först och främst och framförallt nödvändigt. Därför ansluter jag mig till er idag som en vän till Mission Soil. Jag lovar att använda mitt mandat som ledamot av den europeiska regionkommittén och som dess föredragande för att öka medvetenheten om Mission Soil. Inte bara bland ledamöter i den här institutionen, utan även bland de 1,2 miljoner lokala och regionala politiker i hela Europeiska unionen. Markhälsan är ett ämne som överskrider politiska gränser och yrkestitlar. Det är en fråga som påverkar oss alla. Och det är hög tid att vi vidtar kraftfulla åtgärder genom att inse vikten av markhälsa, agera snabbt och ta hänsyn till lokala och regionala skillnader. Kan vi skapa en hälsosammare och mer hållbar framtid för Europa. Jag önskar oss alla lycka till på den här resan och hoppas att jag får träffa några av er längs vår gemensamma väg.
Frida Nelson, ladies and gentlemen. And so from Lidköping, we now move to the Policy Officer at the Directorate for Agriculture and Rural Development of the Tuscany region. Ladies and gentlemen, also sending us a video message, Livia Lazzarotto.
Good morning or good afternoon. My name is Livia Lazzarotto, Policy Officer at the Agriculture and Rural Development Directorate of Tuscany Region Authority. I am mostly involved in programming and managing EU-funded environmental, climate-related interventions at regional level. Quoting directly from the Manifesto, protecting and improving soils is crucial to sustain the well-being and prosperity of everyone. Tuscany region strongly shares this vision. A healthy soil system is a prerequisite for ensuring the provision of many ecosystem services. Economically speaking, degraded soils lead to a loss of these services with a cost of at least €50 billion per year for the EU. It is therefore essential that we all contribute to building a system in which we can ensure a healthy environment for current and future generations. Due to the type of farming and to climate conditions, the agricultural soils of our region are characterized by a low content of organic carbon, a significant high rate of soil erosion and salinization processes along the coastal strips. The increasingly frequent extreme weather conditions, resulting in floods and period of drought, due to climate change further aggravate land degradation. On the 2nd of November, a huge flood has affected the area where I live, a town 15 kilometers away from Florence. Now, thousands of families have lost their homes and their belongings. Just to give a few features, in Tuscany, cultivated lands tend to have values of organic carbon ranging from less than 1% to around 2% maximum. The average loss of soil due to water erosion is estimated to be more than 6.5 tons per hectare per year, significantly higher than the EU average, which is approximately 2.2 tons per year. Therefore, protecting soil represents a pressing need. On the agricultural side, Tuscany has chosen to pursue this goal through a set of actions, by promoting organic farming and soil-friendly cultivation techniques, enhancing the protection of pastures, and assuring the correct management of irrigation systems. Within the EU Biodiversity and Farm-to-Fork strategy, one of the main goals is to place at least 25% of agricultural land under organic farming by 2030. In Tuscany, the areas managed according to organic farming methods currently represent around 34% of the regional agricultural area, well above the target, representing over a third of the national organic area. We were able to reach this important result by allocating a significant amount of European rural development funds to measures that provide premia per hectare of organic cultivations. We are talking about more than 200 million euro in the past programming period and around the same amount in the current programming period. We have also focused on other more soil-specific measures in the past and current programming period: reduced tillage, such as soft seeding and minimum tillage, cover crops, catch crops, overseeding winter cereals with leguminous crops, grass cover of tree crops. Other companion measures are related to pasture management, sustainable management of water resources. According to our experience, some of the mentioned interventions should be linked to systems aiming at enhancing the knowledge of farmers in the practical application of some of the techniques, such as soft seeding and minimum tillage. Tuscany is also the Italian region with the highest area covered with forests, more than 50% of the regional territory. Forests, besides representing a fundamental resource for regulating the global climate and stocking carbon, also have an important role in protecting soils and in stabilizing slopes. Nevertheless, this role can be hardly compromised by frequent and large fires, a major threat to our forests. Forests that have suffered serious or even moderate fires completely lose their protective power, with consequences on the risk of landslides that continue for decades after the damaging event. In Tuscany in recent years, strategies for the prevention of the development of large fires have been adopted. Tools such as specific prevention plans and fire-wise communities aim to involve and share paths with local communities to increase awareness of the risk and to take preventive silvicultural actions. Now my time is up. I thank you very much for your attention, for giving me this opportunity, and I wish you a good continuation.
Livia, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you. So Tuscany, Valencia, Murcia, it's been really great to hear you and to sort of understand your challenges, but actually your reasons why you want to get behind the mission. So thank you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, just a few of the examples of those that have signed the manifesto. Thank you. Thank you so much, thank you. And Maria, we can make sure we'll take some more photographs later, I promise. Thank you, thanks. Now, it is time now to meet the soil ambassadors. The first Mission Soil ambassadors, those that already have Mission Soil in their hearts and in their minds and have maybe already been doing the sort of work that an ambassador would do. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to explain their position and why they said yes when the phone call came. Please welcome back on stage Yannick Schorhoven and Alfred Grand. Come and join us. Thank you, Yannick. Thank you. It's good to see you again. Good to have a chat again. Alfred, lovely to see you. Come and take a seat. So, microphone each, number 1 and number 3 we've got. So, who would like to answer first? Why did you say yes when the phone call or the email? Email. So, Yannick, you opened the email. What did you think?
So I was really happy. Didn't expect it, to be very honest. And I think for me, because I'm a soil ambassador every single day on my farm, caring for my soil, it was, an honor to be able to spread the word even further. It is something that we already do with our Regeneration Academy, where we work every day with farmers, but also with local kids. And it's something that we feel is so important because, many people in our region, they think most fertile soil is 1.5 meters down. So that is already something that we have to change. And that erosion is not man-made, which is also something we could discuss more. And so there's a long way to go. And we live in a region, well, Maria explained it very well, we're at the edge of the map or over. And in our case, we are in the middle of nowhere, where even people in Murcia don't know where we are. So, you know.
So there's your first challenge.
Yes.
But, you know, we had some fantastic things yesterday about what you are doing. But Alfred, give the room an idea of actually how you fit into this. You're a farmer.
Yes, thank you. I'm a farmer, and when I received the email, and the question was if I would accept the appointment as a Mission Soil ambassador, it didn't take me very long because of 2 reasons. On one side, I'm a farmer, I'm a food producer, I'm an organic farmer, so I completely rely on the health of my soil for family income. And the second reason, I'm a human being. So I rely on food. And food is produced in soil. 90% of the food is produced through soil. So if you have healthy soil, you can produce healthy food. And that is what keeps me alive. And that's not only true for me, it's true for you, and it's true for all of you. So soil keeps us alive. So what is more honorable than being appointed and being asked if you want to be an ambassador for the Mission Soil Deal for Europe, which wants to promote healthy soil, which wants to make European soils more healthy.
I mean, what do you see the role as being? What is it that what gaps are there that you want to fill, and who do you want to inspire? You know, tell me about the role you wish to carve out.
Well, I'm the owner of a research farm, and it's not only, so first we wanted to create a research farm because I'm fascinated by science. Unfortunately, I didn't have a scientific education. I never attended a university, even not a college. I always say I am trained by earthworms. Because the earthworms, I started 25 years ago, I started a vermicomposting operation working with earthworms. Why do we work with earthworms? Because humans cannot make soil. But earthworms, together with bacteria, with the fungi, they can do the job. So we are working with earthworms. And when we started working with earthworms, at the same time, we started to approach the scientists. And then we started cooperating. We saw, okay, there is a cooperation on an eye-to-eye level, first only in Austria, later on a European level. And yeah, that's where we are now. And this is really the important thing. So this is, we wanted to create a research farm, but then we realized there's a lot of research already done, but the impact in practice is missing. So we said, okay, let's do a research and demonstration farm. So what we do now, as an ambassador for the soil, is to promote soil health, to explain children, students, adults, people, scientists, visitors on the farm. And it's the same what Yannick is doing, is to show them, okay, and explain them and let them grab with their hand the soil and explain how important it is and raise awareness.
So you're very much on your farm looking at bringing people in and just explaining. It actually echoes the point that was earlier made about getting the visibility for those that may not have that idea of actually where things come from. I mean, and that to me sounds very similar to the sort of things that you've been doing as well. So I guess for you, is it more of the same, or how do you see your role evolving?
Yeah, for me, it's quite similar as for Alfred. We are working with actually all local high schools in the north of Murcia at the moment. We go there for talks about climate change, about soil health, and we have managed to bring all of these high schools in groups to our farm to learn about soil health. And I see that as my role, and I hope to actually expand that within these high schools, but also within the valley that I talked about yesterday, this 30,000 hectare project that we hope at some point will become also a living lab, because we are at the beginning of that project, and we would love to see that monitored over time, because we do believe that it's possible. We've seen that it's possible. So we have already convinced some other farmers that it's possible, and they're also doing it. So I think my role can be in showcasing and also helping them really in the practice. So what should you actually do? Yeah. Because that's many times the issue, no? Like, yeah, great, okay, you can do this, but now how do I do this? Because I don't have the same resources, or I don't have the same machinery, so I think that's where we can help, and that is what we're already doing, and I hope to do it in an even bigger scale.
So you're looking at the young people, you're looking at schools, but you're also then spreading to other farmers as well, sort of dual purpose. When you have your children at the farm, tell me about some of the activities that you do with them. And I think we might have a photograph to show as well.
I hope we have, yes.
Yeah, should we have a look at this and see? We'll have it. Oh, there we go. Oh gosh, right. Tell us what this is.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, we wanted to bring a painting that could be signed by all the participants with colors of the earth. So pigments taken from the earth and then created colors that can be created into an artwork. And so unfortunately, the postal service was not fast enough.
Yeah, I think it's lost somewhere in Germany or something, is it? But
yeah, they said it takes 3 days to arrive in Madrid, but it's 6 or 7 days, and it still didn't arrive.
So, despite that, this is what you could have been doing. so this is a painting with colours of the earth, with the pigments of the soil.
Exactly. And this is how we can bring the topic of soil health, how we can raise awareness with children, with adults, through art. So connecting people through art, and you can see on the right picture how beautiful and how much can be done. There were already international competitions with schools from Austria, from Hungary, from Czech Republic, from Slovakia, where children took place in a competition and created artwork with soil. And this was really amazing what happened. But I also participated in such events, and it's really nice because it gives you a completely different perspective from soil.
I just wonder actually how many people in the room would love to talk to Alfred afterwards about how to take that sort of idea and maybe take it into their local schools as well.
Thank you. That brings me to something. I have some information here for you, so maybe we can hand it over later to you.
Fantastic. No, we will, because we've got the cocktail networking break coming up. So come and find Alfred. He can talk to you more about these amazing colours and art ideas. It ties in with so many of the themes that we've been talking about. Look, I wish you both well on your mission. Oh, go on.
I have one point to make, one last point. And I think Yannick can add a little bit to it. When we think about soil health, there is a great ambition at the moment. Yeah? So everyone is talking about soil health, and we hope with our work as an ambassador, we can even enhance this. But just to give a little bit of feedback, last week there was a new organization founded in Europe. It's the European Association for Regenerative Agriculture. Yannick was there. I missed because I was ill, but their farmers founded an organization where they want to dedicate the organization for regenerating the soil, for helping soil health within Europe. So there are front-runner farmers from all over Europe who founded this organization. And Yannick, do you want to give some of the experience you had last week?
Well, it was actually my husband that went, because I was at home with the kids. We have to divide.
It's okay, you're here this week.
Yes, indeed, indeed. But yes, he was extremely happy with becoming a founding member of this association, because it's actually the first time that farmers are in charge in this association. And it's really amazing how people and farmers from all over Europe can agree on similar soil principles, because it's about the principles, and then how you act on your own context, that is for you to decide on how to actually improve your soil, because that is different everywhere. But these principles, they are super important. And well, Alfred, you're also going to be in it, no?
Yes, I'm in it.
Yes.
And I really like how this multi-stakeholder approach now is taking place, and all the scientists, the farmers, the politicians, decision makers, everyone is talking about soil health, and together we have to make it.
You do, and that's now your mission as well, and which you have gladly accepted. You both said you were thrilled when you opened the email, so it's your mission now as well to go forth and be Mission Soil ambassadors. So, ladies and gentlemen, Alfred and Yannick, thank you very much. Thank you. And look at that. Look at that. You've got one of your earthworms in there, Alfred, I'm pleased to say. I actually thought Coletta would have done an awful lot more of them all over. Yes. Maybe Alfred could do with a few more of those. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of today. Before you go, before you dash off for cocktails, let me just a little bit of new information. If you're here as part of a project, there's sort of been an idea to actually take advantage of having everyone together and sort of agree an informal meeting this evening. Fabio and Flavian, where are you? Where are you? Yep, fantastic. Okay, so you've decided to put together a little bit of a meeting this evening, basically to discuss stakeholder engagement. So if you are here as part of a project, it's going to be in here, isn't it? 6:30. So yeah, you've quickly got time to grab a drink and come back. So if you are here as part of a project, come back in here, 6:30. It's going to be a very informal forum for sharing ideas. So thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we start tomorrow morning at 9 again for registration, and another full day tomorrow. I do trust you've enjoyed today. Have a lovely evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thank you.